Today I have a tool review of my Hobart Handler 210 NVP. So first thing about this bad boy, it's not light. This is a heavy duty old school machine, but the good thing about it is with it being manual, you're still going to be able to find parts for this thing. So it's got a manual wire feed adjustment separate from our amperage. Hobart has a real nice, it's not telling you how many amps, but there is a chart inside here that I've never once used. Well, maybe once. I just kind of will guess and check. I'll turn it to, guys, if you're on 220 with a Hobart Handler 210 MVP, put it on 2. I like my wire feed right around 30. And then you can get some really bad looking welds like this. This is all stainless, but hey, this stuff's holding together. Don't judge this machine by those welds you just saw. That's my fault, not the machine's fault. But I've had this thing for over a decade. It has a really easy to use. This just spins off right here and threads in. You can switch out from 110 to 220. There's no need to change any settings on the machine besides, as you see here, this tells you your 110 is the not filled in bubbles, 230 is filled in bubbles. So just changing your amperage output, but it has a spool gun option. I think you have to reverse the polarity when you do the spool gun, so you're going to basically switch these. But it tells you kind of here what you need to do, all that stuff, anything you need. This is the factory cable that I've used for 10 years, drug across the floor. As you can see, my shop is probably the cleanest shop you've ever seen in your life. The most well-organized place in the history of auto mechanics. And it's all held up really nicely. I got the factory round still on it. As you can see, I might have missed a couple times, but she's worked great. Love the machine. And the reason I bought this was, at the time, I think I paid $865 from Tractor Supply. They had it the cheapest at the time. And this is basically the cheaper version of the Miller 210 that they have. That's a multi, either does 110 or 220. But she works great. Would recommend it, 10 out of 10. Like I said, a lot of these new digital ones are going to have all sorts of cool features that may make a novice welder weld better. And if you really care about how your welds look, probably just learn how to weld better. A lot of it's just cleaning stuff up and going slow. But I like to go fast, so didn't do that. But you don't have to worry about not being able to find parts. Like I said, this thing's over 10 years old. If I need any of these parts, any of the switches go bad. If I can't find it at the welding shop in town, you can order online and have it in no time, as opposed to these new digital ones. Yes, they don't weigh anything, but as soon as one of them goes bad, you go to try to find a computer board for them, and the next thing you know, you only paid $600 for it 3 years ago, and the board went bad because it got shorted, and now you're out $600, have to go buy another machine. This guy, for 40, 50 bucks, you can get a replacement switch, get everything back up and rolling. So hope this was helpful. Quick video, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I've not taken any money from Hobart. They took $865 of my money back a decade ago, and I'm glad they did, because I've used this thing hours and hours. I can't count the hours over a decade of welding, but it's been a great machine. But I figured I'd give them a little shout out, because anymore you can't hardly find shit that lasts long, and this guy has lasted and never gave me a problem. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful, and as always, T-tops off.